This meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chair Cole.
Here.
Vice Chair Levere.
Present.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Here.
Authority Member Day. Authority Member Schock.
Here.
Authority Member Webb. Authority Member Winsek.
Here.
Would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Next item is approval of the agenda. Fellow authority members, have you seen the agenda? Does anyone have any suggested changes? And if not, could we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Next item on the agenda, item 4, is approval of the clerk's certification of the April 12th, minutes.
So moved.
We have a motion.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or changes? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that brings us to public comment. So if you are here to speak on an item that is on the agenda, please wait until that item. But if anyone would like to speak broadly, all right, hearing none, we will move on to item 6, liquor license application hearings, new application, 6A, a resolution to approve a liquor license application for HMN Inc., doing business as Westview Wine and Spirits, 1621 West Canal Circle, Unit 105, Littleton, Colorado. Is there someone on behalf of the licensee here?
Yes.
Chair, excuse me, I'm sorry. Could we move to
Admit the exhibits?
admit the exhibits? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll move that we admit exhibits A through G.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome. Can you introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening. My name is Adam Stapen, S-T-A-P-E-N. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Colorado with a registration number of 27506 with the law firm of Dill, Carr, Stonebreaker, and Hutchings. We are here before you on behalf of a new retail liquor store, and we couldn't be more excited to present our testimony before you today. We are going to have 2 witnesses. The first witness is Max Scott, and he owns and operates Oedipus Petitioning, and that's the entity that circulated the petitioning and furtherance of this application. And if my memory serves me correct, I believe it was somewhere in the high 90s of a percent of petitioning supporting the issuance of this license, and that would be presented for your consideration. We also have Haile Guzahagen, and he is the sole owner and president, as you saw in the application, and he has significant alcohol licensing experience. And he was an asset of Littleton, and hopefully to be another asset of Littleton upon receiving this license. And I know we're excited to have his presentation before you today. So those are the 2 witnesses we're going to have. If you want to swear them in now, we can do that.
That'd be great. If you wouldn't mind asking both of them to step up, and we'll ask you to swear them in together. And then from there, I'll just let you present your case. Good evening, gentlemen, both of you. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this authority is truthful?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Mr. Stapen, go ahead.
You sit down and Max will start. Mr. Scott, come on up. And would you please be so kind and speak in the microphone?
Yes.
That's right. Good. Thank you for the reminder. The video is the record, so please make sure that we can hear both of you in the,
All right.
the microphone.
Mr. Scott, I believe the authority already knows you, but would you please state and spell your name and let them know what you do for a living?
My name's Max Scott, 1 X and 2 T's. I own and operate Oedipus Incorporated. When was the last time I was here? Was it this year? I forget. I'm old.
Probably.
I just passed into the company did, into its 49th year. And we've done thousands of surveys throughout the state, to include 3 for Littleton, but that was a long time ago, back in the 70s.
And were you retained to circulate petitions in furtherance of this application for retail liquor store off-premise license?
Yes.
And can you describe to the authority what you did and where you circulated the petitions?
We enter into an agreement. We don't guarantee survey results, and we ask for payment in advance. Thank you very much. Then we generate all of the petitioning materials, and in this particular case, it's a retail liquor store. It's an off-premise license, as you know, and we contacted parties and interests who were business owners or managers or residents of the defined neighborhood, and we brief them. When we do a liquor store, we usually get asked two things in the field: what's the square footage and when will it open? Square footage in the party and interest mind is how competitive the store will be, inventory, different types of brands, container size, and so on and so forth. And this store is 4,000 and something square feet, which was on the petition itself and the briefing sheet. After we voir dire a person as a party in interest, we do the presentation and then ask if they're for or against, and they can sign either way, and we don't guarantee the survey results. The city staff defined a neighborhood in the report. Hopefully you have a color copy on page, I think it's 4 on this report, and 5 are the defined neighborhood. 4 is our map. That has businesses that we surveyed in blue, and then the pink areas are the outlying residential. This neighborhood is predominantly homeowner-occupied, and then you'll see the store location generally at the center and bottom of the neighborhood. So that's the area that we surveyed. The point is to get a sampling throughout the defined neighborhood. On page 2 of our report, I'm telling the client we did what we contracted to do. The knotted homes and knotted businesses are inflated because we returned to some of those as the surveyor keeping track of who's not at business, not at residents may go back to some of those before they move to the next circulation area. Qualified contacts for or against for whatever reason, 46 favoring, 1 against businesses, and 137 residences favoring, and 13 against. And then reasons that were written in are usually the reasons of people that are opposed to the license. 7 no need, so that's some kind of a comment about there's enough retail liquor stores in the defined neighborhood. We had 5 abhorrence of alcohol. That's a desire reason only. The test for the public hearing is need and desire, not need or desire. And then we had 2 miscellaneous reasons. In this survey category, it's if you round up 93%, and if you buy favoring, and if you buy our argument and subtract out the opposition reasons that were desire only, the needs and desires category goes to 96. Both of them are well over 50%. Margin of error is 2.6, so you can add it in, subtract it out. But both of them are well over, as I said, 50% and show a need and a desire for a new retail liquor store. Now I'd like to go down a garden path. In the survey business, when we do surveys, they tend to fall into 2 categories. On-premise, which would be like the hotel restaurant licenses, beer and wines, the boogie joints, the taverns, and so on and so forth. And then off-premise, which is retail liquor stores, liquor license, drugstores, like we did the Safeway here to the west of this site location. In the past, the survey results have been in the 70s in category number 2, and then up into the 80s if the survey came out favoring in needs and desires. So this is a higher than normal survey results that we see, and I think the argument there is the neighborhood's underserviced, therefore the license is needed.
And so doing this for 49 years, Mr. Scott, is it your testimony today that these petition results are direct evidence that the reasonable requirements of the neighborhood and the desires of the Dalton inhabitants are not being satisfied by the existing stores, and that this license is needed and desired?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions of Mr. Scott.
Mr. Scott, I know that the city provides you with the boundaries, but then from there, can you give me some insight as to how you pick which block you may survey?
What we do is we pick areas that are representative of the defined neighborhood, which are those areas that are in pink and blue on page 4. then the surveyor or surveyors are told to go to those neighborhoods and get X amount of completions out of that neighborhood. And a completion is yes or no, and then move to the next area. So those are the areas that we surveyed, and the argument is based on the standard of error. I'm getting old and I forget some of the words I need to use here. That would be a representative sample of the entire neighborhood.
Okay. I just asked because it seemed to me like more of them were further away from the establishment than I often see, which I don't say to quabble with the overall results. I understand that it's, representative of the overall boundary. But.
Well, we go throughout the neighborhood, and there's 2 Colorado case law cases. I don't know whether Adam knows these or not. They say that no matter where you are in the neighborhood, you have equal rights as a party in interest. So if you are in Washington, D.C. and you cast a vote, or in Washington State, both votes count the same, is essentially what the argument says in the 2 cases. So we want to do a sampling of the entire neighborhood.
Sure.
We'd go to every door if they paid us. And Safeway paid us to go to almost every door. But I don't know that was necessary on this. The results would be the same if we did go to every door.
Yeah, Mr. Scott, I would echo the same, and maybe this is for your future reference, but you've completely ignored this Southbridge neighborhood,
Which is
directly north of the establishments across Mineral Road.
on Mineral Road.
That pink bit that you've got there on Hinsdale and Datura and Gallup, that's actually not even connected to that neighborhood. It's separated by the Highline Canal, basically. And they have to go down to Jackass Hill Road to get back to Mineral. They have to go up through Fremont to Broadway to even get there. They can't directly travel by car
To the site?
to the site. So you've got this entire neighborhood just to the north where there's not one representative sample that would help us say, yeah, these people are encouraging this.
Well, and I don't know if this is the same subdivision, but there is an area that we sampled, though it's several blocks to the north of Mineral.
Yeah, and those people, they're almost out of the neighborhood because they have to pass Safeway, they have to pass King Soopers, they have to pass the liquor store next to King Soopers to get to this new liquor store. So while I understand they're within the neighborhood and the boundaries we've set and defined, they are also 3 liquor stores removed from this new one that's going to open.
I don't know if I understand all of that. In other words, they can't directly go to the site location, is that what you're saying?
They can, but they'll pass 3 on the way.
Oh, well, the survey results are what they are, but are those other 3 stores 4,000 square feet? Except for the Safeway?
Safeway's pretty big. The other one, I think, is I forget their name because they're generic next to King Soopers. But sufficiently stocked. I'm just a little dismayed that this neighborhood was excluded, and it seems a little deceptive, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
I would ask that Mr. Scott be excused.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Come up, sir, please. You were sworn in?
Yes, I did, I guess.
Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
My first name is Haile Mariam, Hailemariam. Last name is Gezahagan, Gezahagn.
Sir, what is your current occupation?
At this time, I'm just Ubering because I was searching places. So on the way, it's better to make a little money for the gas. But it was not my primary thing or my focus.
So you're saying you're Ubering and you were looking for a location, and you were looking for a location to do what?
To do the liquor business, which I have been working for 16 years.
Okay, so looking for a business, we're talking about the current application that we applied for and that we're seeking to get licensed right now.
Absolutely right.
And you just said that you've been in this business for maybe 16 or so years?
That's correct.
When did you first start working in an alcohol-related business?
1999.
And what did you do then?
I don't understand that question.
Did you own a liquor store at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. It was my own business. I own it, yeah.
And how long did you own that liquor store?
I owned it that one for 3.5 years.
So from 1999 to maybe 2003?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you have any liquor violations at that location?
No.
Where was that location?
That was on Evans and Zunai
Would
in
that be
Denver.
Denver?
Denver, Colorado, yeah.
And so in 2003, what did you do?
2003, I sold that business after, it was a small business, so after I promote that one, getting better store than I have when I bought it, then I promoted it. I went to Aurora, I bought another very similar size, which currently I'm trying to open in Littleton, around 4,500 square foot, 4,500 square footage. I bought that in a King Super location in Mississippi and Chambers.
How long did you own that liquor store?
That one also close to 4 years.
So we're talking maybe now 2006, 2007, 2006-ish?
2006, yeah, no, yeah, beginning of 2000, middle of 2006, then I sold it.
And while you were operating that liquor store in Aurora, did you have any liquor violations?
No.
So what did you do when you sold your liquor store in Aurora in 2006?
Then for 3 months I took off and I was searching another. Then I found finally on Littleton. Then I moved to Littleton to Columbine Valley Liquor on Bowles and Midfield.
And how long did you own that store?
Close to 9 years. 9 years, yeah.
2006 to 2015?
Absolutely right.
So from 1999 to 2015, you've been operating a liquor store for about 16 years.
Correct.
And did you ever have a violation at the Littleton store on Bowles Avenue?
Yes.
And when did the first violation occur?
The first violation was, I believe it was 2011. It was by my employee.
And so the first violation occurred in 2011. This would be 12 years of operating a liquor store without a single violation. The first violation occurred in 2011.
That's right. It's by my employees, though.
By your employee. And
Right.
do you recall what happened at that time?
Well, I was in the office, and the employee, I guess, she wears reading glasses. For some reason, when she was coming, she rushed to the store, and she didn't bring her glass. And those vertical IDs, when she thought that was a 21. Then she sold for a minor. And the second one, he came after a few minutes, like less than 5 minutes. Again, she saw, yeah, he's 21. She sold it. Then before the third one came, she called me. She wants to use a restroom. Then I came to the front race. The third child, he came, and he presented me that ID. And I kept that ID. I was upset, and I told him, what do you do here? Unless you bring your parents, you're not going to take this ID. Just go home, I said to him. What about my ID? He said, if your parents, they don't come, I will give the Littleton police officers. Then he said, I am one of them. Then I thought he was just joking. Then I told him, get out from here before I slap you. Then he walked out. Then he came with a police officer. Then he told me that we got a ticket by the employee. That was happened.
So this was in 2011. You had an employee that sold alcohol to an underage cadet that was part of the Littleton compliance check. Is that
Right.
correct? And then shortly thereafter, I believe another underage compliance cadet came in for the city of Littleton, and the woman sold again to a minor.
Right.
And then when she asked to go to the bathroom, you took over the cashier. And when the third one tried to come in, you stopped it. And that's when the police came in and said that your employee sold to a minor twice.
Correct.
Okay. And as a result of that occurring in 2011, 12 years of operating a business without a violation, what did you do to make sure that wouldn't happen again?
Well, immediately what I did was I got like a couple employees, they were working, including myself. I sent them to a training. Then we do the training, as they got all the certificates. Then we came back because the lady who was working for me, she worked for a long time. That was her first mistake she did because of her glasses, not intentionally sell it, but by mistake. She thought that the number was correct. So I consider it, I didn't fire her, but I sent her to a training. I went with them, even if I have the confidence, I've been working for that, but I went myself to see what's new in the violation system. So we learned enough, and we came back to the store again.
Okay. And then, so thereafter, this was in 2011. It's my understanding that the store on Bowles Avenue here in the city of Littleton had another violation approximately 2 years later.
Correct.
And this is maybe 2013.
Correct.
And can you describe to the authority what happened for that violation?
Okay, that was my mistake. Well, that mistake, it's not consciously I did it. It was in November 2013, I remember. Early, when I'm in my bed at 5 a.m., I got a phone call from back home that I was told that the death of my mother. So I was very upset and nervous because before she died 3 days ago, I called her and I told her that I'm going to be to the Christmas, not American Christmas, but Ethiopian Christmas is always January 7th. We celebrate Christmas, so I told her, I will celebrate Christmas with you. I will come for January 7th. Because the holidays over here will be finished by New Year. Then after a week, I was planning to see my mother after a long time, but instead of meeting her, that I heard that she passed away. So I was not myself when I come to the store. I have to open. I was there at the store, but I was numb. My brain was not totally at the store. So until my employee comes, the first customer came to the store was a lady. She looks like old enough, but still inside me, I'm asking her an ID, but my mouse didn't open it. So I scanned it. I said, have a nice day. But still, I am not myself that time. So I sold the minor that time this way.
Okay, so just so I can understand it, the violation occurred in 2013. That morning you discovered your mother had passed away, and you went into work and your mind wasn't where it should have been, and you allowed a sale to occur.
Correct.
Okay. And I believe you had one other violation within 16 years, and when did that occur?
That was in 2004, not 14. It was after a year and 6 months or 8 months. So it was somewhere 2014? No, 15. It was 2015.
And what happened, approximately when was that, do you know, and what happened relative to that violation?
It was June. The day was Saturday. Usually my employees come after 2. Then I was by myself. All of a sudden, around noon, I becomes very busy. So I was serving people, asking the regular things. If they are youngsters, I check their IDs. I let them go. All of a sudden, 2 girls, they came. 2 girls, they came. One is totally drunk, and the other one was sober. So the drunk girl, she brought a bottle of vodka, and she sat in front of me, and I told her, sweetheart, I cannot sell it to you. If I sell it to you, this one, you will die. It's not about the ticket. It's not about this business, about anything, but I more care about your life. So go home, sleep 4 hours, drink a coffee. When you are sober, I promise you I will sell it for you. But right now, please go home. I don't want to sell it to you. Then she started arguing. For a long, I started arguing with her that I'm not going to sell for her. The minor girl, I believe she came. She was sitting in front, standing for me. She got something, and she was very camouflaged well, and she was recording me, too. They were state stingers. So after that, after I said firmly, no, 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 she moved to the shelf where the bottles and wines are, and she started talking because she has a big purse. Then now I have to follow her, this girl. It's not to lose a bottle of wine, but if she drinks and go, she might die. So I was worrying, then my eye was over her. The lady, after a while, she said, I've been here waiting long. Can I go now? I'm sorry, sweetie. You see, it's a drunk girl. I'm just bothering. she's distracting me, so I couldn't able to do this thing. So let me send you. Here you go. I scan and I let her go. That was the mistake happened. Still, when I do that one for her, I was after that girl. Okay. Then finally, I knew they came together. They left together.
Okay, and now it's my understanding the one that happened in 2013 was a state liquor violation compliance check, and this was a state liquor violation compliance check. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did a gentleman named Ed Culp, a director or an investigator of state liquor, come in and have a conversation with you immediately after you sold the alcohol to the minor?
Yes.
What did he say? Go ahead and explain.
Okay. They came and he said, here you go, we got two news for you. One good, one bad. Then I said, what do you do after all over here? I said, talk to him. Because I know him with that previous violation. So here you go, another bad news and good news. Which one you want? Both are the same for me, so go ahead. What do you want? I said to him, oh, you are good on the drunk, but you fail on the minor. Then I told him, what are you doing, Aror? Why you are here sending two people? Why don't you at least test me one by one? So when I am concentrated with a drunk person, how do you want me to focus on the minor while I am just after the drunk person? He was saying, I'm sorry, but just, it is what it is. We did it, so you sold it. Okay. I said, okay.
So just the reason why we're going through this in great detail is so the authority can understand what type of operator this person is. So this violation that occurred in 2015, you were focused on the intoxicated individual potentially taking alcohol out of your store without purchasing it and further hurting herself, and that's what drew your attention away from checking an otherwise checking a person's identification.
That's right.
Okay. So those were 3 violations in 16 years of operating a retail liquor store in the city of Denver, the city of Aurora, and the city of Littleton.
Right.
Okay. You're looking to open up a new liquor store now. Why choose the city of Littleton when you could have chose any other cities, including your prior two, Aurora or Denver?
Well, I had the business in 3 cities, which is Aurora, Denver, and Littleton. There were certain things which mostly I prefer to have a business in Littleton. First of all, to start with you guys, authoritarians. I was talking to Colin earlier about the city of Littleton, how they were very helpful, especially during the Depression in 2008, 2009, when we were having some difficulty in business, sell businesses, how the economic department, they were coming, encouraging us. They were doing a lot of motivation things to promote our business and advices that you don't find it in another state, another cities. Second, the city of people, the city, Littleton of police, if you call anytime if you have a problem, before you hang up the phone, they are at the door. They are very helpful. They are very, for security-wise, they are very excellent, good servers. You always have a confidence that you have a city police of Littleton. The Littleton police officers. Another thing is a big thing also, another one is the people. The people are very humble, very nice, very helpful. When you are in your store, if they see strange people outside, they said, we don't care. They sat outside waiting for the stranger to leave. If not, after a few minutes or whatever minutes they waited outside, they come, they notify you so you can take an action. It's not like, I got my stuff, let me go. So they are acting like a family members. So city of Littleton, the people, the authoritarians, they are all very favorable for business people. To me, as I was in 9 years over there, almost I was turned like as a family member of the Littleton people. So I love Littleton in general.
Okay. And so you could choose anywhere in Littleton. Why did you choose the location off of Canal Street, which is really close? It's really off of Mineral between Santa Fe and Broadway.
Well, to begin with, when I saw that canal, I was driving around. I saw that shopping center. I saw that there was no any liquor stores. Then I walk out around the neighborhoods. I was asking certain people, is there any liquor stores around here? I asked them. There is one at King Super. There is one in Safeway. The King Super one is always closed at 8. It's horrible, they were saying. I'm not saying undermining that store, but the people's expression. Then what about if we get another? We will love to have those because we don't want even to drive another mile in the evening in any inconvenient time. We will walk, we can get our liquors. We love to have it if we get a chance, but I don't know who's going to open around here, they were saying. After I collect this information, then I start searching the landlord of that place. That was the reason I came on as one thing. Another one, I see behind of that how deep the neighborhood is. So it's very convenient for them to have that store in that location for the people. Besides, there is a mineral also, it's a heavy traffic, west and east traveling, so it will be a good location than going next to the Broadway, King Super, which is a rush when people are going to groceries and going to liquor stores. It's crowded. I check it myself. I was over there. I checked the Safeway also. It's too crowded during the rush hour. So if I open that one, for people who they don't want to go have grocery stores, it's very convenient for them. So I just saw these pointers. I chose it.
Okay. Now I'm going to peel the onion a little bit. You went through a lot of stuff, and I just want to make sure we all understand. So one of the reasons why you chose this location is because you had conversations with the residents around the store. How many residents did you speak to?
Actually, around 7 people I talk in different time. I was coming back and forth because I have to study the business around there too. I was checking those local people. So.
Okay. So based on conversation with residents that live in and around that location, you believe that would be a good location because they believe that there's a need for that location to be licensed?
That's what I believed myself.
Secondly, you mentioned the high traffic on Mineral. Tell me what you mean by the high traffic.
Well, people are, some of them working at west, they're going east. People are working at east, they go west. So there is always traffic. It's heavy. It's a major traffic, major road.
So what you're looking at doing is satisfying the alcohol needs of a traveling public that may not live within the designated area, but drive through Mineral to and from work or to run errands.
That always it happens. Let's say when I was in Bowles, there were people coming, swing to my store, they buy, where they are having next to the big store on Bowles and, what do you call it? Bowles and C470, the big one. There were people who were next to that, but still because of the traffic convenience, they just swing in, they buy, they tell me, they're not living around there, but they're just still stopping because my selection also was very great because if you guys, you know, Columbine Valley, the selection of the wines were very great, selection of the Scotch and high-end vodkas and the craft beers and microbrew beers, they were all high-end wines. People, they were impressed. They liked it by the selection, too. They were swinging, always.
Okay. So
the same way here, I'm hoping to be like that because I'm going to build it that way.
So essentially to attract the traveling public that may find your location a convenient location as through their traveling needs.
Correct.
Okay. And the final one, I believe you mentioned, is being more convenient for those that live in the neighborhood around your location. And can you explain a little bit more of what you mean by that?
Can you repeat it again, please?
I believe you said another reason why you chose this location because it'd be more convenient for those people that live around there, excuse me, instead of having to go up to Broadway and Mineral and fight the traffic. Can you kind of, maybe you've said enough about that, but can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by that?
Well, let's say to begin from the closest one, the whole apartments behind them, they don't have to drive. They don't have to create a traffic on Mineral to go to a liquor store. It is very convenient. It's very economic and a gas saving. It's beneficiary to the citizens who are living around there. Second, the houses west of it, west of the Mineral, behind towards Santa Fe, if you see it also, it's very close. If they drive, they might drive like 500 to 600 feet. They're not going to drive that much far. So if they want to walk also, they will be walking. If there is a bad traffic, I mean a bad weather, snowy, which creates a lot of catastrophes, people, they can walk if they have closets. So it's very convenient for these people.
Okay, and thank you. I just wanted to kind of flesh that out a little more. So we went through your background. We talked about why Littleton. We talked about why this location. Why don't we talk about the floor plan itself? And does the authority have the floor plan in front of them?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. I'm now showing you, sir, a copy of the floor plan that was submitted with the application that you're seeking to license today. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this a true rendition of what the floor plan will look like should this liquor authority grant the license?
Absolutely right. That's correct.
And why don't you walk me through it a little bit? First of all, where is north on this page? If I'm looking at the page as I'm reading, if I can see the letters like I'm looking at a book, where would north be pointed?
Okay. North will be focusing toward this mineral.
So north would be at the bottom of the page.
Right.
And that would be mineral, would be at the bottom of the page?
This is a mineral, yeah, main road, yeah.
And where would canal be located?
Canal will be west side. When the store focusing like this, or west side, it's focusing west.
And so on the page, would it be to the left of the diagram? Would that be where the canal would be located?
Right.
All right. Why don't you walk me through first of all, where's the front door, and why don't you walk me and the authority through the floor plan so we understand what this is going to look like?
So the main entry is, as you say, it's a main entrance. There are two doors currently, but I will close it. The second one, the reason I'm closing it, it will be a cooler by that, so it will be inconvenient for us, also for the customers, opening and clashing to the cooler side. So, but the main entrance will be one, but there is an emergency exit at the back. And there are counters next to the door. After that, there is a big shelves behind on this, what we see it over here. And the rest, there are wines and alcohol shelves in between. That's what you see. And we got two sides of big coolers, which will be around 22 doors.
Okay. And now let's talk about the specifics of the floor plan. By the front door, is that a solid wall, or what kind of a wall do we have that faces the parking lot?
It's a transparency glass. You can clearly see.
And why would glass be important for you as a liquor store owner to have looking into the parking lot?
Well, you have to see the main road, which traffic is coming back and forth. You have to see which person, what kind of traffic are coming and parking, what kind of people. Sometimes kids, they stand outside, they ask people to buy liquor for them. Some individuals, some adults, they don't care as far as if they give them, I buy for you, buy for me this time. So if you are focusing, because our counter, it will be higher, 1 or 2 feet higher than things, so we can see everything inside the shelves. Besides that, also from outside, so you can control the outside situations.
Okay. So you beat me to my next question. So we have glass on the front to ensure that we get an idea of what's happening in the parking lot.
True.
Because that's important when you're selling restricted products, to know the activity that's occurring right outside your location.
Right.
And then secondarily, you said the counter was going to be raised higher than the floor, and the purpose of that was to be able to have a bird's eye view of the whole place?
Absolutely. You can control on the shelf. People, they come, you might not see them if it is low. The shelf is lower, you cannot see what is higher behind, but if it is higher, you can see everybody's activity. So,
and this is probably something you want to do based on your 16 years of experience?
well, there is a lot of experience on that. So,
okay. If this license is granted, what would your hours of operation be?
it will be, I will see it how it will be, but the beginning it will be 9 o'clock to around 10, and weekends it might be around 11.
How many employees?
At the beginning it will be 2, but later on we don't know. It depends upon the business. So,
And are you currently in the process of putting hammers to nails in this space?
after I get authorized, absolutely, I will be signing tomorrow the contract with the contractor, if it is the will of God. So then I will go forward.
When do you anticipate opening should this license be granted?
Still, it is up to the how fast they will move, how fast they will get from City of Littleton the permits, and how far they will get working with the XCL Energies, all these things. But I'm hoping to open by middle of October, if not beginning of November for the holidays, it will be opened.
What type of product selection do you intend to have now? Have you given any thought about percentage of beer, wine, spirits, or anything like that?
My focus will be, this is South, mostly South, people, it's not like Colfax-style liquor stores we have. I was in Littleton, as I said, in Bowles. I know what kind of wines they do, what kind of liquors. Even liquor, it's not ordinary vodkas or anything. So it will be a little bit high-end and quality, good standard wines and craft and microbrew beers. So.
And obviously, this is not your first rodeo dealing with a retail liquor store, but what do you intend to do to yourself and to your employees to ensure, in my mind, 16 years with 2 or 3 violations, if you would, and again, we're not saying we're not taking responsibility, but I think there's explanations for how and why they occurred. What do you intend to do to ensure that you maintain another 15, 20 years of good operations?
Actually, I was talking to him right now. If I am approved, I will contact you. We will get the training. That's the first key before I open the door. The employees will be trained, even myself. I will go for a revised information. Every day they create shoplifters or people, youngsters, they create a lot of new systems, how to shop things. So with drunk people, I know how to deal it. However, still, there are a lot of new things. People, they create, they are creative. So you have to follow the training, updating, then go forward from there.
And just so we're making a record, the record is Mr. Scott through Oedipus is a ServSafe certified trainer, and he would come down to your store and train you and your employees.
Yeah, he just told me it will take between 4 to 5 hours training, so we will do that.
Okay. Sorry for dragging it out maybe a little bit, but I wanted to have a full understanding of who this individual is and his prior operating experience, including that within the city of Littleton. I don't have any further questions of him. Obviously, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Any questions from the authority?
Yes, sir.
You said you were going to have 2 employees. You're going to be open 7 days a week, almost 13 hours a day with just 2 people?
It's the first 3-4 months, always when you open a new store. It takes time. So the two employees, they will not be, both of them, but I will work with one employee. It will be certain hours, but I have family member which is not counting as employee. Let's say my wife is here.
So you'll have more than one person at a time in the store, correct?
No, 2 people.
Okay.
Always 2 people there will be. But when I say 2 employees, the 2 employees will be coming, but me and my wife is not counting as that section.
That was a great question.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how do you see your product mix? The law seems to be changing at the end of next year, where every current 3.2 seller of beer will theoretically be serving or retailing full-strength beer or all the craft microbrews at all the different gas stations. In fact, in your own parking lot, you'll have what will arguably now be a direct competitor for your craft beer services. Do you see that affecting your product mix? Do you see any challenges with your business plan in any way?
That it will not be my worrying about that, honestly to tell you. The reason is my focus will be more craft and microbreweries. They will be there always because it's a need. From my experience, the people who are drinking wine, they always take craft or microbrewers. They don't go by Budweiser or Coors or those cheap beers, especially the people who drink quality wines. The people who are drinking scotches, still they take some craft beer, some of them they don't. So my focus is it will be in the high end of wines, high end of scotch and bourbon and vodkas. So plus the craft and the microbrewers, that it will not be affecting me to my business the way I think. But I don't know what the ground creates.
Okay.
Sorry. Any other questions from the authority? All right.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to close with?
No, I mean, obviously, that's our presentation. I mean, I do believe you can see the applicant before you, who's the 100% owner and the president of the company, is a sincere person. educated and very successful in operating a liquor store. Obviously had an employee that sold twice, stopped the third one when he got to the stand. The other 2 violations occurred on his watch, but I think you heard not an explanation, but some color as to how it occurred and why. Obviously, he takes full responsibility for that. I think should you approve the liquor license, you're going to have another pillar in the community back working in the community again. We would ask that you, given the petitions, I believe Mr. Scott did hear your concerns. Obviously, I can tell you that we didn't direct him what to do or how to do it. He's a third party conducting the circulation of petitions. But I do believe that the alcohol needs of this community in that designated area are not being met by the existing 2 retail liquor stores. We would ask that you do approve this one, and just want to say thank you for your time.
All right, thank you both very much for your presentation. We don't have anyone signed up on the public hearing roster, but I want to make sure that I ask if there's anyone else here who would like to testify. Seeing none.
Did you want to officially open the public hearing and then close it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, when you say open it, I mean inviting people to testify. Do I need to do anything beyond that? Just, is there anyone else here who would like to testify? No. All right, then I would entertain a motion that we could then discuss, which I'm assuming would include a move to close the public hearing. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I will, Andrew.
Go ahead.
I move that the public hearing be closed and that the resolution of the Littleton Licensing Authority be approved, which grants HMN Incorporated DBA Westview Wines and Spirits, 1621 West Canal Circle, Unit 105, Littleton, Colorado, a retail liquor store license. License contingent upon approval by the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division and based upon the following findings of fact. 1, that the notice of hearing was properly posted and published, that the applicant has possessed premises and the premises are suitable for the requested license. 2, that the applicant has possession of the premises suitable. 3, the needs of the neighborhood are not now being met, and 4, the desires of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that the license be issued. 5, existing similar liquor license in the designated neighborhood are not adequate, and 6, that the applicant is of good moral character, record, and reputation.
We've got a motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Everything seems to be in order to me, and I think they've met the criteria. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please poll the authority?
Chair Cole,
Yes.
Vice Chair Levere,
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan,
Yes.
Authority Member Schock,
Yes.
Authority Member Winsack.
Yes.
The motion passes. Welcome back to Littleton. Congratulations.
Thank you again. I'm happy to see you guys, and I love to work with you and with the public. I love Littleton. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you for your time.
The next item on the agenda is item 7A, determination if probable cause exists to set show cause hearing for Retro Wasteland LLC doing business as the Toad Tavern, 5302 South Federal Circle. So we've got exhibits A through D. I'll go ahead and move that we enter exhibits A through D into the record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Was the prosecutor supposed to be here this evening? No.
No, the prosecutor will come if this moves to show cause.
Okay.
There's no need for the prosecutor to be here.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion from the authority members? Obviously, we have the exhibits, which include the report.
Quite a bit.
There was quite a bit. Anything that city attorney would like to add? Obviously, you're not here as the prosecutor, but so just to confirm, this case has gone to municipal court. The yeah, the individual,
Correct, the
Okay.
employee.
the employee, and
Yes.
the disposition of that case is,
I believe he pled guilty.
he pled guilty. Okay.
Yes. So,
To serve, to sale of an intoxicated person.
Oh, an intoxicated person. So we have, in my understanding, two potential violations, the sale to an intoxicated person and not notifying the police. Obviously, if you pled guilty in municipal court, that goes a long way towards showing cause that a violation could have occurred.
So you'll notice in your packet, there are 3 possible violations. There is conduct in establishment, prohibited acts, and unlawful acts. And you'll also notice the 3 things that you can consider in the probable cause hearing are the direct observations and informations of the police officers, the information provided by any witnesses, which I don't believe we have, and then whether or not the citation for a criminal charge was made and the evidence in support of that. So I believe you have police reports, and you should have the disposition of the criminal case in your packet as well.
That's right. Any discussion, thoughts from the authority or a motion?
I think the probable cause bar is low enough that there's no question that we have to bring them in and have a discussion or let them discuss it with the prosecutor for the next month.
All right.
Yeah. I know a couple people around there that have said some pretty bad things about that place, so.
But just to be clear, the criteria we're going to use is specific to,
Yeah.
what's in the record. Okay.
This is definitely clear.
All right. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to find that there is probable cause to believe that Retro Wasteland LLC, doing business as the Toad Tavern, 5302 South Federal Circle, Littleton, Colorado, on May 5th, 2017, did violate the Colorado Liquor Code and Littleton City Code based on said findings. I move that a public hearing be set for September 13th, 2017, for the purpose of considering the status of said license, wherein the above-mentioned licensee may be present to show cause, if any, why its license should not be suspended or revoked. And further, that notice of these findings and the hearings to show cause shall be forwarded and served to Retro Wasteland LLC, doing business as the Toad Tavern, 5302 South Federal Circle, Littleton, Colorado, in accordance with the provisions of state law. I move that a preliminary hearing, if necessary, be set for the 9th day of August, 2017, for the purpose of considering a possible stipulation, if any, between the licensee and the city of Littleton. And before we set that, is our meeting for August okay? The Western Welcome Week does not start until the following weekend, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct. But we no longer have a conflict with the Carousel of Music or anything like that, so we're fine.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll just add that it seems fairly obvious from the exhibits we have that that it's worth setting a show cause hearing. Anything else anyone would like to add?
Concur.
All right. The clerk, please poll the authority.
Chair Cole,
Yes.
Vice Chair Levere,
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan,
Yes.
Authority Member Schock,
Yes.
Authority Member Winsack.
Yes.
That motion passes. The next item on the agenda are reports. So it's 7:23. I would like to just quickly ask staff, I know we probably want to take a break and start on time at 7:30 when we have a study session scheduled. Remind me again the process you all use when you set the neighborhood boundaries.
Neighborhood boundaries are generally set based on the last boundaries used for a similar liquor license in a like area.
Okay.
I also think if you don't know that neighborhood, you're not going to know that Highline separates that neighborhood.
Right.
But it also seems obvious they should have went to that neighborhood.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Anything from staff that doesn't pertain to what we're going to talk about on the agenda at 7:30 for the study session? Nope. Anything from authority members that won't pertain to what we'll talk about in 6 minutes?
I'll just notice that I believe I will be out of town for the August meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
And I may be out of town in September, but I'll know better next month.
Okay.
I might be having a baby, so
Congratulations.
absent as well.
All right. Anything else from the authority? Nothing from the chair. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn at 7:25. And just a reminder, we will start at 7:30 or shortly thereafter for our study session next door, right? So this meeting is adjourned.